Hello students, welcome to EPG Parshala. I am Dr. Savita from Maharaja Agrasen University, Baddi, Himachal Pradesh. Today we are going to talk on module Organizational Goals Overview, Cyert and March Behavioural under the paper Managerial Economics. After completing this module, the students will be able to understand the behavioral theory of the firm, understand about the firm as a collision, understand how different groups form the goals, and also understand how conflicting goals are resolved by alternate management levels. The traditional microeconomic theory of firm behavior considers profit maximization to be the sole goal of a firm. It is considered that though a firm can face alternate markets, that is perfect competition, monopolistic competition, oligopoly or monopoly, but in every case the owners will seek to maximize the profits only. In contrast, the managerial theories of the firm or organization consider the firm to be a collision. Firm is not owned by a single owner, rather by multiple stockholders. The interests of these stockholders, managers, workers, consumers, and suppliers may clash. The focus of behavioral model of Cyert and March is to explain the models of clash resolution. Firm as a collision. The firm which is being considered in this model is mainly a large multi-product firm owned by a number of stockholders. Owners of firm and managers of firm are two different groups. Firm is generally considered to operate in imperfectly competitive market as information is not complete, uncertainty prevails. This type of assumption about a firm is more realistic. Each group within a firm, be a owner, manager, workers, consumers, and suppliers, will have different utility functions. Owners will seek to maximize profits. Managers will seek better salaries and power. Workers will seek higher wages and better conditions to work. Consumers will seek low price but more variety and quality and so on. But out of all these groups, the most important group is considered to be managers, followed by shareholders and workers, as it is shown in the figure also. How different groups form the goals. The most important feature of the behavioral theory is that it doesn't focus directly on the goals of a multi-product large firm, rather tries to explain the process, that is, how these goals originate. According to Cyert and March, the goals of firms originate mainly because of demands of alternate groups. These groups further depend on availability of information, expectations, aspirations, and achievements of other groups in same or other firms. The basic dichotomy in the structure of firm is accepted in the behavioral model. In this dichotomy, on one hand, there is the organization as a whole called as firm, and on the other hand, there are the individual groups and subgroups within the firm. The individual groups and subgroups within the firm will have different objective than firm as a whole. Further, it is considered that demands and past achievements are highly correlated. Demands of each group do not remain static and as keep on changing according to past achievements of group and that of other groups in getting their demands met, and other changes in the firm and its environment. Here, changes in firm are very significant because if firm performance remains static or stagnant, demands may also remain static. Fourth one is role of time lag. By time lag, we mean the lag between past achievements and future aspirations. According to Cyert and March, this time lag can be used by the firm to generate and accumulate surplus, which eventually can be used for conflict resolution. Conflict between different groups as the demands of various groups and subgroups may be in continuous conflict with each other, and the groups may be continuously bargaining with each other. Role of top management. The role of top management is extremely significant in Cyert and March model. Not only the top management sets the goals of the firm, as the goals may be in conflict with various groups within the firm, top management works towards reconciliation of goals too. According to Cyert and March, a firm has mainly 5 goals. One is how much to produce, that is a production goal. Inventory goal, sales goal, market share goal, and profit goals. Production goals. Mainly, it is the production department which takes care of production goals. Smooth production process also implies that production is eventually distributed over time and seasonal as well as cyclical variations in demand are taken care of. If demand is too high, it may require overworking by workers and other factors of production. Similarly, if demand dips, it may lead to overproduction and layoff of workers. Inventory goal. This goal either may come from production department or from sales department. In some instances, the firm may have a separate inventory department too. Production department will always seek sufficient stock of raw materials, while the sales department will seek sufficient stock of finished product. Third one is sales goals. The strategy for sales will be a part of sales goals. Market share goal. It may further involve market research, analyzing the competitors and deciding the advertisement strategy. Fifth one, profit goal. top management sets the profit goal to satisfy the shareholders. Furthermore, as the firm may have relied on banks and other financial institutions for its financing, profit goals also act as a benchmark to satisfy them. According to Cyert and March, law of diminishing returns operates even in case on top managers' abilities to take decisions. Therefore, as the goals increase, the efficiency of decision making may decrease. Therefore, the firms mainly focus on satisfying behavior. The concept of satisfying behavior was originally given by Simon. He writes, among the common constraints which are not themselves the object of rational calculations are 1. The set of alternatives open to choice. Second, the relationship that determine the payoff satisfaction's goal attainment as a function of the alternative that is chosen. And thirdly, the preference ordering among payoffs, the selection of particular constraints and the rejection of others for incorporation in the model of rational behavior involves implicit assumptions as to what variables the rational organism controls and hence can optimize as means to rational adaptation and what variables it must take as fixed. Next one is means for conflict resolution. As various groups compete with each other for their individual group specific goals, there is continuous struggle and bargaining within the firm. Interestingly, this doesn't lead to queues within the firm and firm keep on performing in stable manner as before. The reason for stability can be listed as the group have limited bargaining time and may not be aware or examine all the alternatives open to them. The budget share allotted to each department also acts as a constraint. There may be penalty involved with underutilization or overutilization of the budget. Past history of goal setting and achieving or not achieving the goals. Clear delegation of authority also minimizes conflicts. The main means or channels used for conflict resolution are, first of all, cash payments. The managers and workers receive cash salary. Owners receive dividend, etc. Second one is incentive. In behavioral theory, incentives imply side payments like funding a research project if a scientist within the firm need to be incentivized. Slack payments. Organizational slack consists in payments to the members of the coalition in excess of what is required to maintain the organization. According to behavioral theory, this slack may be earned by every group. The managers may receive it in form of fancy offices and cars. Workers may receive it in form of wages higher than market wages. Customers may receive it in terms of discounts and shareholders may receive it in terms of higher dividends. All this is possible only if business period is favorable so that sufficient surplus is generated and there is sufficient time lag available between aspirations. Sequential attention to demand. The most important aspect of conflict resolution is sequential attention to demand. That is, demand of various groups be met priority-wise. In peak production period, production department will get priority, but if focus is on sale or market share, the priority may change accordingly. Decentralized decision making. Now, we will discuss decision making at top management level. Budget allocation according to bargaining skills. Three things are taken into consideration while allotting the budget, and that is firstly, goals of the firm, secondly, availability of resources, and thirdly, bargaining skills of head of each department. Though top management does keep some funds aside, these funds can be used at its own discretion at any stage as per requirement. The decisions by top management are based on bounded rationality. Complete information may not be sought as information is not free. Collecting information about all the alternatives can be uneconomical time-wise too, as no detailed cost-benefit analysis is undertaken. One can conclude that top management acts in limited rational way. Information is generally searched only if some problem is there. Here, the concept of position bias comes in the fore. The decision of various managers for security and power in the organization leads to this bias. Just to show importance of their demand, they may overstate the requirement, and this may eventually lead to the upward bias in the cost structure of the firm. Furthermore, information may be distorted or underreported. Decision making at lower management level. The day-to-day routine decisions are taken in a simplified manner by the established norms and rules within the firm. The administrative staff follows the principle of learning by doing and learns from past successes and mistakes. Failed methods are not repeated. Next is uncertainties faced by firm. Cyert and March explain two types of uncertainties faced by a firm. That is the market uncertainty and the uncertainty about competitors' reaction. The market uncertainty can be partly avoided by collecting information. Because of market uncertainty, firm mainly depends on short-term decisions and avoid long-term decisions. Interestingly, in terms of uncertainty arising because of oligopolistic interdependence, the behavioral theory choose to be quiet by assuming tactic collusion among existing firms. Criticism of behavioral theory. The behavioral theory is an entirely different concept and differ from traditional microeconomic theory of firm behavior in a number of respects. In traditional theory assumes firms to be managed by owners only. This means that owner and entrepreneur is same. There is no gap between ownership and management. But in behavioral theory, firm is considered to be a collision of groups with conflicting interests. In traditional theory, the firm has only one objective, and that is maximization of profit. Whereas in behavioral theory, the objective of firm are many and are decoded by top management. In traditional theory, maximizing behavior, firm tries to maximize profit. Whereas in behavioral theory, satisfying behavior, the interest of these stockholders, managers, workers, consumers, and suppliers may clash. The focus of behavioral model of Cyert and March is to explain the models of clash resolution. Therefore, the objective is to satisfy each and every group. In traditional theory, complete information is assumed. The entrepreneur will have perfect knowledge of all possible alternatives and the outcomes. Therefore, global rationality prevails. But in behavioral theory, accepts asymmetric information, rather concludes that the decisions by top management are based on bounded rationality. Complete information may not be sought. Collecting information about all the alternatives can be unconditional time-wise too, as no detailed cost-benefit analysis is undertaken. One can conclude that top management acts in limited rational way. Information is generally searched only if some problem is there. In traditional theory, it is assumed that there is no conflict of goals between individual and organization. Whereas in behavioral theory, the interests of stockholders, managers, workers, consumers, and suppliers may clash. Traditional theory assumes firm's rationality since very beginning. In behavioral theory, firm is adaptive organization. Firm learns from its successes and mistakes. Traditional theory is a short-run and long-run theory, whereas behavioral theory mainly a theory for short-run. The concept of industry equilibrium is not explained in the behavioral theories. It does talk about the origin of conflict between different subgroups and their resolution, but doesn't provide any explanation on how conflict resolution and equilibrium can be achieved at industry level. The behavioral theories fails to explain the determination of equilibrium output and price, while this explanation is very convincingly given by traditional microeconomic theory of firm. As we cannot predict how industry equilibrium is achieved, one cannot comment on stability or instability of equilibrium. The threat of new entrants in market and resultant change in behavior not explained. There is no doubt in the fact that the behavioral theory of firm chooses different approach as compared to other managerial theories too. The basic focus of all these theories, managerial as well as behavioral, is on divorce between ownership and management. While Baumol theory focuses on sales revenue maximization under a given profit constraint, Maris model talks about managerial enterprise, while the Williamson model explains the role of managerial discretion. In all managerial theories focuses solely on utility maximization and discretion of managers. In contrast, the behavioral theory is more comprehensive as the firm is considered to be a collision of groups, that is stockholders, managers, workers, consumers and suppliers with conflicting interests. So students, let's now summarize what we have learned in this module. The traditional microeconomic theory of firm behavior considers profit maximization to be the sole goal of a firm. In contrast, the managerial theories of the firm or organization consider the firm to be a collision. Firm is not owned by a single owner, rather by multiple stockholders. The interests of these stockholders, managers, workers, consumers and suppliers may clash. Each group within a firm, be it owners, managers, workers, consumers, and suppliers, will have different utility functions. Owners will seek to maximize profits. Managers will seek better salaries and power. Workers will seek higher wages and better conditions to work. Consumers will seek low price but more variety and quality and so on. But all of these groups, the most important group is considered to be managers, followed by shareholders and workers. According to Cyert and March, the goals of firms originate mainly because of demands of alternate group. These demands further depend on availability of information, expectations, aspirations and achievements of other groups in same or other forms. The basic dichotomy in the structure of firm is accepted in the behavioral model. In this dichotomy, on one hand, there is the organization as a whole called as firm, and on the other hand, there are the individual groups and subgroups within the firm. The individual groups and subgroups within the firm will have different objectives than firms as a whole. Further, it is considered that demand and past achievements are highly correlated. Demand of each group do not remain static and as keep on changing according to past achievements, that is of groups and that of other groups in getting their demands met, and other changes in the firm and its environment. Here, changes in firm are very significant because If firm performance remains static or stagnant, demands may also remain static. The role of top management is extremely significant in Cyert and March model. Not only the top management sets the goals of the firm, as the goals may be in conflict with various groups within the firm, top management works toward reconciliation of goals too. According to Cyert and March, a firm has mainly 5 goals: production goals, inventory goals, sales goals, market share goal, and profit goal. According to Cyert and March, law of diminishing returns operates even in case of top managers' abilities to take decisions. Therefore, as the goal increase, the efficiency of decision making may decrease. Therefore, the firms mainly focus on satisfying behavior. As various groups compete with each other for their individual group specific goals, there is continuous struggle and bargaining within the firm. Interestingly, this doesn't lead to queues within the firm, and firm keep on performing in stable manner as before. The main means or channels used for conflict resolution are cash payments, incentives, slack payments, sequential attention to demand, and decentralization decision making. The decisions by top management are based on bounded rationality. Complete information may not be sought as information is not free. Collecting information about all the alternatives can be uneconomical time-wise too. As no detailed cost-benefit analysis is undertaken, one can conclude that top management acts in limited rational way. Information is generally searched only if some problem is there. The day-to-day routine decisions are taken in a simplified manner by the established norms and rules within the firm. The administrative staff follows the principle of learning by doing and learns from past successes and mistakes. Failed methods are not repeated. Cyert and March explain 2 types of uncertainties faced by a firm: market uncertainty and the uncertainty about competitors' reaction. The market uncertainty can be partly avoided by collecting information. Interestingly, in terms of uncertainty arising because of oligopolistic interdependence, the behavioral theory chooses to be quiet by assuming tactic collusion among existing firms. The behavioral theory of firm chooses different approach as compared to other managerial theories. Baumol theory focuses on sales revenue maximization under a given profit constraint. Marriage model talks about managerial enterprise, while the Williamson model explains the role of managerial discretion. In all managerial theories, focus is solely on utility maximization and discretion of managers. In contrast, the behavioral theory is more comprehensive, as the firm is considered to be a collision of groups, that is, stockholders, managers, workers, consumers, and suppliers with conflicting interests. It further convincingly elaborates on the process of conflict resolution. Still, for being considered as part of microeconomic theory, this theory needs further elaboration. The determination of equilibrium, output and price, and concept of industry equilibrium is not explained in the behavioral theory. Thank you.